Hi Stampin' friends, I'm Pam Cullen from 3 Mile Pond Girl Creates, and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Augusta, Maine. And today I'm going to show you how I created this card using products from the Hues of Happiness Suite, which is featured on page 109 in the annual catalog. And I think this is a really pretty card, and it features some of the really nice things about this suite. And so let me show you some of the things we're going to be using to create this card. So this is the stamp set, the Happiness Abounds stamp set, and as you can see, it has all of these beautiful sentiments and floral images to stamp, and then it also has coordinating dies, the Blooming Happiness dies, and these are very, I love these as well. I love this piece, which gives you a really nice feature on your card, and these as well, these border pieces, and this one, when you die cut this, actually makes it look like a torn piece of note paper. And so that's a really cool feature to put on a card as well. So the only dies that we're going to be using for the card we're making today are these 2 leaf dies. But I'm sure that I'll be using the rest of these to do some other cards in the future. And then for our sentiment background piece here, we're going to be using this banner die, which is from the new Stylish Shapes dies, and this is like, these are standalone dies. There's no stamp set that goes with these, but these are a must-have as far as I'm concerned, because you who doesn't need different sizes of circles and squares, and these banner pieces are just wonderful because I usually cut them with scissors, so it's really nice to have them actual banner pieces to use. So I'm loving these dies. So those are the stamps and dies we're going to be using. We're going to be using, for inks, we're going to be using Melon Mambo and Mossy Meadow ink. And we're also going to be using the Stampin' Blend, Mossy Meadow Stampin' Blends. I'm actually only using the light, but I wanted to show you both because these, you can buy these separately, or you can also buy them as a pair, the light and the dark in all of the colors. So these are really great. And they have 2 different types of tips on them, of kind of a fine tip, and then one that's for filling in bigger spaces. So they're really nice. Markers to have, and I have quite a few of them. So here are the pieces to put our card together. Let me just set these aside for a minute. And so we're gonna have, so our card base is 8.5 by 5.5 piece of Granny Apple Green that's scored at 4 1/4, and it gave that a nice burnish with my bone folder. And then I took a piece, I've already cut this, but I took this really pretty piece of the Designer Series paper, and it comes in a 12 by 12 sheet. So this, I'm not sure that's exactly where it lines up, but you'll get the idea. So I cut this at 3 3/4 and 3 3/4 by 5, and so then I can get another card out of this. Plus you could also cut this side and use these colors and make similar cards with those coordinating colors. So it's really this, I liked this sheet of paper a lot, and so that's what I've used for this piece. And so I cut that already. So we're gonna border this one where I wanted to put some white on there to just give it a little bit of offsetting color. So we're going to use a 5 1/4 by 4 piece of basic white, and then we have our piece of 3 3/4 by 5, and I don't think this is really directional, so I think we can put it either way, but I think that looks nice like that. Then we are going to have a piece of 5 1/4 by 4 again for the inside of our card, and I've already die cut this, so this is what it looks like. I ran this through, so I used a piece of the coordinating Designer Series paper to cut that background piece, because I thought that it gave us some of both of the pieces. So and then I just cut that end off. So I think when we do this, I'll cut that end off so we have a couple of both of the colors there behind our sentiment. And then I have a scrap of white to stamp our sentiment, and then another scrap of white to stamp our leaves. And I think that's everything we need for this card. So let's let's do our stamping. So we'll need these two pieces and our inside piece. Let's just set this aside for a minute. And so let's just go ahead and stamp that inside sentiment, and then we can put that off to the side, and then we can work on our other pieces. So that inside sentiment again was stamped in Melon Mambo ink, and so I'm just going to go ahead and ink that up really well and center that. I'm going to actually put it up a little bit closer to the top so that there's room to write something else in the inside of your card if you'd like to. I'm trying to get this straight. Hopefully this is going to come out straight. We'll see. Yes, that's not bad. All right, so now we can just set that piece aside because we'll put that on the inside when we get our when we get ready to put our card together. So now that we've got the Melon Mambo out, we're going to go ahead and stamp that other piece that says you're wonderful in every way. And so what I did with this one is I used a smaller piece of scrap paper because I wanted it. I'm cutting this by hand, and so I kind of wanted to have it almost to the size that I was going to need, and then I could just trim off the edges a little bit. So now we're just going to take our snips, and I'm going to just cut this like so, and maybe we'll just take a little smidge off here to make sure it's straight. All right, so there's our, and that's going to go right on our sentiment piece. So then we'll put that ink away, and I'll take out the Mossy Meadow, and we'll go ahead and stamp our leaf pieces. And these are going to stamp, they're not going to be filled in, so that's what we're going to use our blends for. We're going to, these look pretty this way, but I wanted to give it a little bit more, I wanted to fill that in and make them a little bit darker and kind of to match the other leaves in this card. So we're going to go ahead and stamp those. And then we'll take our light Mossy Meadow blend, and I'm going to use this tip just because this is kind of a small, I just want to make sure I can stay in the lines as much as possible with this. So there's no just color, which I love to color, so this is really fun when I get to use the blends. And if you go outside the lines a little bit, it's not a big deal because I'm going to go ahead and die cut that. So no one will ever know. You know what? I should have colored the other ones because I've already die cut those. So I should be coloring the ones that I already die cut. But I'll do those up really fast. As you can see, it doesn't take long to color them, so we'll go ahead and do these really fast, and these are the ones that we'll use on our card. See, now I have to stay in the lines because I've already cut it. So don't do what I do. Color and then cut. Now let's see if I can pick this up. All right. So I've had to do this. I've had to do a few takes on this video because my puppy has decided to be quite vocal tonight, so I've had to keep redoing it. So fingers crossed that we can get through this one without him interrupting us. So let me just show you what I did here. So then we're just going to line these dies up. Sure, I'm in the camera here. We're going to just line these dies up and run them through. And with these, you can use your mini cut and emboss, and it will run right through there. And so then we end up with these pieces that we're going to use behind that card. So I think we're pretty close here to putting this card together. So let's bring our pieces back in. Oh, and did I tell you about I don't think I mentioned the frayed ribbon. So we're going to be using this really pretty frayed ribbon. And I love this. And it's really soft. And it is like you can fray the edges of this if you want to, or you can leave them whatever you want to do. But this is really pretty, and I like the thickness of it. So we're going to put that little piece of frayed ribbon behind there. So let's take our liquid glue, and I'll put this inside piece inside. Line that up, top and bottom and side to side. There we go. Then we can put these pieces on, our layering piece, basic white. Again, this piece is 5 1/4 by 4, and don't worry if you're not getting all these measurements or the names of everything, because I'm going to go ahead and put all that on my blog over here at 3 Mile Pond Girl Creates, so you can head over there and you'll have all the products that I used and all the measurements that I used, so you can create this card yourself. And also, if you place an order right now, celebration is going on, and so for every $50 that you spend, you get free products. And they just updated what some of the celebration items, and so they're offering some different ones, some newer ones, along with the ones that they already have in the celebration brochure. And so if this is something that you're interested in, this is a great time to order, because you get free products. You get this beautiful suite of products, and then you get other free products besides that. So that will also, the celebration catalog is also over on my blog, or if you want, you can reach out to me and I'd be happy to send you one. All right, so now I'm going to just take a little bit of glue. You can take liquid glue, you can take a tape runner, glue dots, however you want to fasten this down. But since I have my glue right here, I'm just going to go ahead and stick it down with the glue. And so I lined that up. I'm going to line that up right to the edge of the white piece. About, well, a little bit below halfway on the card. Let's trim that off a little bit. So then we can attach our, let's cut this. So I'm going to, like I said before, I'm going to keep this piece and cut this end off, the end of this off. And where I cut it was basically just inside the banner piece, because I wanted it, well, you can do it one of two ways, and maybe we'll do it that way just for effect. So I'm going to go ahead and glue this on to that banner piece, and then we'll be able to tell better where we want to trim it. All right, I think that looks good. So we'll just trim off, like I said, like almost, see if I can get it straight. There, I think that looks good. So then I'll put this up on dimensionals, and I'm actually going to use, and I'm going to get the name wrong because I didn't write it down, but these are I think I got it, but it will be in the information. I think they're adhesive strips, and these are the same things as a dimensional, but it's like a sheet, so you can cut them, like you can see as I'm doing, you can just cut as much as you need, and that way you're not using as many dimensionals on a bigger piece. They're really nice for you know, puffing up something, a big piece of something. You can use these sheets, and you get quite a few of them to be able to you can get quite a few pieces out of the package. So I'm going to just kind of center that on our piece of ribbon. And see, then it gives you a nice, it also, there's no dip in that. It just gives you a nice lift, even lift to that. So then I'm going to also stick these two pieces on dimensionals. I'm going to use the minis. I'm going to use the minis for this because, true confessions here, I'm literally out of dimensionals, which I don't know how that happens because I always order them, but at the moment, so there's a bunch coming on my next order, but these will work just fine for this. So I just put a couple of those little mini dimensionals on there, and we're going to tuck these underneath. Go. There we go. We're done with our card. See how pretty that is, and it went together quite quickly. And so anyway, I like that. I think you can let me know in the comment section which one you like better, but I do think I like it with the white border piece on there. It just gives it a little bit more contrast, but they're both very pretty cards. So if you are watching this video and you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, I'd really appreciate it. If you did, you can click that subscribe button right below the video, and if you click on the little bell, it will give you a notification every time I post a new video. And if you don't have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, I would love to chat with you about being your demonstrator. And if you want any more information on how to order, on catalogs, anything you need help with, please reach out to me. I would be happy to help you in any way I can. So thank you so much for stopping by my channel today. I hope you enjoyed this card, and I will see you again soon. Take care.